Good morning, everyone. Happy 4th of July, July 4th, 2022. I'm Faron Gallon on the YouTube channel Faron Gallon Sells Cars. I'm just going to talk with you a little bit about leasing under current market conditions. Also, the obvious car shortage nationwide. And I'm speaking just for myself, not for Toyota, not for any brand, just for Faron Gallon Sells Cars only. And so my opinions are for me only, and I do not speak for Toyota or Daytona Toyota or anyone else. These are just comments for entertainment purposes. Leave it at that. Let's first talk about leasing. I've had a lot of clients over the last 6 months to a year inquiring about leasing and why the leasing deals aren't good right now. And let me just say, in the past, before the pandemic, leasing could be a great deal for folks who don't drive that much, less than 15,000 miles per year, and someone that buys a vehicle anywhere from, let's say, every 2 years to every 4 to 5 years. In some instances, leasing can be not only a smart deal in terms of coming out of a car and getting a new one, but also economically, it could be a great deal as well. So let's fast forward to right now, current market conditions, and why leasing may or may not be such a great deal now for most manufacturers. First of all, most of your manufacturers will use leasing in conjunction with some incentives to move product, to move metal across the curb, okay? You may have a particular model with a manufacturing company that might go through a sales slump and it's not selling, or the inventory is building up because the product's not selling, and you have some imbalances. And so typically when that happens, you're going to have some great lease deals on those various cars across the board, no matter what the brand name is. And that's when the consumer can take advantage of it. If that's the car that you want and they have a great lease deal, and you're not driving that many miles per year, and you also frequently buy your cars 2 to 5 years, it can be a great deal. Fast forward to right now. Currently, there is a shortage of new cars across the board. Right now, most manufacturers are not having a demand problem. It's a supply problem for various reasons right now. So you're not going to see too many lease deals at various manufacturers right now currently, because it's not a demand problem right now. It's a supply problem. Most manufacturers right now are trying and struggling to make and keep up with the demand of the vehicles that are being sold. So yes, there's still lease deals out there, but as far as having an abundance of great lease deals across the automotive industry, you're just not going to see those right now. Now in the future, if the economy slows down and you start seeing a buildup of inventory, that may be possible going forward, but I just don't see that anytime soon in the near term. Again, most manufacturers do not have a demand problem. It's a supply problem. So let's talk about the shortage and how did we get there and what happened. Well, let's go back to 2020, and I remember it vividly. I was in the car business, obviously. Been doing this about 9 years. We had the COVID outbreak, and people wanted to stay away from public places initially. Didn't quite know what was going on. All of the sales dropped across the board, system-wide, in the automotive industry. And most of your automotive companies reacted in a way that most manufacturers would react when there's a severe cut in demand, they began to talk with suppliers, including the manufacturers of smart chips that go into cars. And they said, hey, we're not selling vehicles, let's hold off. Cut that order, slow your roll. And that was great. You know, it was, no one saw what the end was going to be, and it was kind of a knee-jerk reaction. And everyone did it across the board. Now, if you're a chip manufacturer, what did you do? Well, you still got to run a business, and you're not necessarily going to be totally beholden to the automotive industry. So people started staying home, working from home. People started buying new computers. And what happened? Well, they retooled their line. That is, the chip manufacturers retooled their line to make chips for cell phones, computers, stuff that was beginning to sell. All right. Meanwhile, in the automotive industry, we didn't get a slight rebound until the early part of 2021 or late 2020. And lo and behold, chip manufacturers got the call from all of the automotive manufacturers, and they say, hey, we need those chips now. Can you get us some? Well, the problem is when you get ready to retool a line to make automotive smart chips, it's a 6-month lag time from the time you say, hey, we're going to make a chip, we're going to get the line ready to do smart chips, because smart chips for cars are not the same as smart chips for computers, cell phones, etc., etc. So they say, hey, you guys held us off. We're not going to be able to get a chip made for you probably to the summer of 2021. Well, obviously the automotive manufacturers quickly depleted their inventory, and thus you have the shortage of new cars, which also affected used car prices, and that's where we are now. Why haven't we caught up? Well, the reason we haven't caught up is because the demand side never slowed down, okay? People were still driving their cars, depreciating those cars in 2020, 2021, wrecking them, etc., etc. None of that shut down, okay? People were still driving their cars. So that's why you have the imbalance. There's only so many hours you can do to make a car. So if you have a manufacturing plant and you're going 24/7, there's only so many cars you can make at that plant in a 24-hour period, okay? You couple that with the imbalance that you had already, and the demand, and the fact that the chip supply was way behind, and the inventory was already tight for most automotive companies before the pandemic even started. So when does it end? I don't know. There is a plant by Intel that's supposed to open up in Ohio, supposedly in 2025, I believe, 2024, 2025. Could be delayed. There's a bill floating around in Congress to supplement that manufacturing plant. And as you may or may not know, most of our vehicles, or chips, I should say, are made overseas and not in the United States. So as a result, we really need that manufacturing plant to come online, but it's going to be a while. All right, I'll get back and finish this up part 2.